same rights from every community and getting their dollars back. We shouldn't feel any less. See, why would we I think we've been put in a bag where we think that we are inferior.
Yes.
Because why would we accept inferior standards? Why would we accept, we give people millions of their dollars and they don't give us none of their dollars? They say it's, this gets me, they say, well, we just spend money everywhere. Now, African American people are the only one doing this. Because why, if everybody's spending money just blindly, why don't the African American people get everybody money? Yeah. Why do they get less than 1% of the Jews' money, less than 1% of the Korean money, less than 1% of other ethnic groups' money, if everybody just spending colorblind, just spending where they don't know in the direction that they're spending it? Mm-hmm. And what we need to see, and what I'm saying is, what we need to see is that when we spend money, like the Jews take their money, they spend it with each other and make a strong community. You got Chinatown. They come over here, they build their own Chinatown, they get productive. This is the idea in America, that communities are made strong. The idea that we neglect the responsibility of taking care of our community and spending dollars with each other, people look at us as neglecting our responsibility.
Well, when we look, if I might, you might want to get involved, because I know go ahead, if you want to make a comment.
I wanted to make a comment on that, on the last note you made for educated African Americans. In reading Carter G. Woodson' book, that was one of the things that he was saying, that the so-called educated African American has been manipulated into thinking that his education rises him above his common brother. But what it really does, it misleads him, because we're the only people in the world that send our children to school to be educated to go get a job. We don't send, like a man who go get a PhD. They had a book that the average, person from another ethnic group who go get a PhD end up becoming an entrepreneur, like 60% of them. On our part, our ethnic group, over half our people who get PhDs and doctorate degrees, they go seeking jobs for other people. Yeah. And they be the number one person or people in our ethnic group who try to discourage us from going in business. And this is one of the psychological effects of slavery, that we're the only people in the world, our educated people, don't believe in going to business. They believe in getting a job from someone else. And they don't promote the ideal of becoming an entrepreneur.
Yes, that's true. I agree.
What we have to realize is that we have been miseducated. And us realizing that miseducation, we have to go drop that particular knowledge that we have gotten from somebody who enslaved us over a period of time, who was also miseducated to a certain degree, and coming back and getting some new knowledge. Now, as us being Muslims, we are taught, Prophet Muhammad taught us that the lost property of the believer is knowledge.
Yeah, sure.
And he also taught us that we should seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. And he also taught us we should seek knowledge even we have to go to the farthest distance of China. So that alone let us know where our source is. Now, as Muslim, our source is the Quran. And God tells us in the Quran that we should strive with everything that's in our power, in our being, and our resources, the hereafter. But he also tells us in the same breath for us not to forget our share of this world. Now, this is the new knowledge, and this is the new foundation that we have as Muslims, entrepreneur businessmen, coming out with a new knowledge, a new inspiration. And we are saying that even though we have good Christians and good Jews who have this same knowledge, have this same ideal of principle, but what we are trying to interject in our people, that we are going to have to seek a new knowledge from a new source. Because as we was taught before by one of the wise men among us, if a man don't teach you right, don't treat you right, he's not going to treat you right.
Well, that's true. So, and I think these are valid points that we are coming up with right now regarding the direction that we as a people need to go. Because you did bring out a point that I think needs to be understood a great deal, because when you talk about the effects of slavery, that's a subject that's never addressed among us as an ethnic group. A lot of us want to, don't talk about that. You know, we don't even want to hear about what happened 300 years ago. But yet the effects of it still linger in us, where we are unable to love each other, and unable to show concerns for each other, unable to. There was a time when you can go next door and get a knock on the door and say, "I need some sugar," you know, or "I need some butter," and you wouldn't have no problem getting it. Nowadays, you don't even know your next door neighbor, because we've become so ostracized from each other. And these are points that we're going to have to look at. I don't know if we have. Do we have a phone call? Okay, we'd like to go to our phones and see what our viewers have to say. Thank you for calling. You're on the air.
Yes, I would like to thank the gentleman for coming out, and I also like to, and support African American businesses. That's what we really need in our community, and I would like to thank them for just coming out and speaking on that.
We'd like to thank you for your comments, too. You know, I mean, we hope that you keep spreading that kind of inspiration around the community, one-to-one if necessary, you know, because it is something that needs to be addressed. Thank you for calling. We hope you will continue to watch. Did you like to make a comment on anything?
I would like to say, in our efforts in the African-American business concern, we know that we are fighting an uphill battle against over 300 years of self-hatred, self-denial, and we have been in so-called freedom for, I think, a little bit over 125 years, and I think 50 to 60 years of that. We was in the Jim Crowism and the KKK, and we know that we are forming a small core group, but we know that we have a source that is behind us as long as we stick to what we are taught as Muslim, which is the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, and we know that we are going to win this battle to benefit not only our ethnic group and give us the respect that we deserve as an ethnic group, but we're going to win this battle to help all people who have been manipulated and tricked in different areas as far as business is concerned. And that's basically what we're striving for. We're striving to re-educate our people on the importance of them spending this $300 billion a year, which we don't get but 3% of. And right here in the metropolitan Atlanta area, we spend over $10 billion every year here in Atlanta. And the majority of the money we spend in Atlanta is in Lenox Square Mall. You know how people go out to that mall, and you combine all the malls together. Lenox Square gets more money than all the malls put together. So, and then also, as African Americans in Atlanta, we have over $718 million in other people's banks. So in us talking about this, we told that we spend over $300 billion a year, but haven't nobody told us how much money we saving too.
And then other people are using this money that we're saving.
Using the money that we're saving. And also, as being entrepreneur business, we can very seldom go get a loan from a bank. But we can go get a loan for a brand new Mercedes, which might cost $60,000 to $80,000. We can go get a loan for a home that might cost between $60,000 to $100,000. But if we try to go to the banks to get a loan to go on business, which might be $5,000 or $10,000, which we are denied, and I think that happened with Commissioner Michael Lomax. I think he tried to go get a loan and he was denied. So we have to realize that it's a subtle force that is trying to keep us out of business. So what we're trying to do, people are talking about why are we talking about this? Because we have been boycotted and haven't nobody said nothing about it.
Well, go ahead. I think you wanted to make a comment because we were getting into the board.
He brought a real major issue that we really need to talk about, and that's the boycott that is going on now against African American business, and nobody is saying nothing about. 97% effective boycott that's been going on for years. And that's why I say African American leaders everywhere should be talking about this. Nobody should be quiet. It's like $300 billion is being spent and everybody's being quiet. And
well, it's like, to me, when you say being quiet, you know, when I think about the major entertainers and the people who make lots and lots of money among our people, you know, in entertainment and sports and different fields that our people are in, they have no opinions about anything. You see, what you're bringing out on a program like this, and it's a sad thing that these type of programs can only be relegated to such small areas, because this is a national issue. Matter of fact, it's an international issue. It needs to be addressed all over the world as to what the problems that African Americans face and that we are confronted with. Because people like you don't hear on national network, you know, with the major leaders. The only leader that I reflect on is Imam Warthi Muhammad, because he had a caption, and I think you have it,
right,
that said that we should take the attitude as an African American people that there is just no other businesses in the community.
right,
That we have got to take and spend our money with each other. We shouldn't even see no other businesses. Now, a lot of people may brand that as being racist and have their opinions about it, but they never say it's racism when the Jews spend with the Jews or the Koreans spend with the Koreans. It's only when we try to do something like that they want to brand it as being racist.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you know, President Reagan, the business people went there and tried to get different help from the White House, and President Reagan, at the time when he was in office, told them, said, look, go back. What y'all need to do is go back and educate y'all community. The problem with y'all is that y'all spending y'all money out of y'all community. Y'all wasting the money. The money is coming. And if you just look at this thing black and white, if you had a neighbor making $200,000 or $300,000 and you made $20,000, and then a neighbor keep coming over there and begging you for money, and he's making $300,000, I imagine, you know, the average person would kind of get tired of that. And we, you know, what is going on, we don't understand the atmosphere